Welcome to the Scene Snob interviews with your host, Mick Manhattan. Please like and subscribe to our channel and follow us at the Scene Snob.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Scene Snob Interviews. I'm your host, Mick Manhattan, the Scene Snob, and I am joined today by a filmmaker who does it all. I mean, it's awesome. He's a producer, director, writer. He has worked in the camera department. He's a writer of, I think, like 10 or 15 movies now, correct? So, yeah, I mean, it's so awesome. His name is Asif Akbar, and you're joining us from Los Angeles, right?
Actually, currently I'm in Las Vegas.
All right.
Los Angeles and Vegas. I lived in Los Angeles for about the last 13 years, and just recently, a few months ago, relocated partially to Vegas and LA, back and forth. But I'm working all over, so it's quite exciting to be traveling.
Well, I'm so excited for your new movies, both your new movies, Ace and the Christmas. Ace and the Christmas Miracle. I almost called it the Christmas Horse because it is a horse in the movie.
Yes.
And of course, the Commando. So I want to talk to them a little bit, but first I want to kind of start in the beginning. Now, I'm sure you get the question a lot, like, what was the movie that made you want to start? What was the scene or this, that, and the other? I'm not going to do that to you. What I'm going to do to you is, through your process of, because I know I was reading and I was very astounded and in awe of you for tape-to-tape editing when you were younger. Because anybody who knows tape-to-tape editing, it is not an easy process. So anybody who can do it, I give you kudos.
You're right. One of the best learning tools, I would say. I mean, I would suggest now to film school students now, go back to the roots, try to even do film splicing. I had to do some of that, and then take to tape editing. You learn so much faster, and so just that conception of just editing and framing and everything, it's amazing.
100%. That's great advice too. I mean, always, because you learn the hard way, you're going to roll with the easier, right? You learn so much faster.
Exactly.
But, you're going back. You've been shooting films since you're a kid on your Handycam. I want to know, when you were a kid, you first grab your camera and you're like, I'm gonna film something. I'm gonna make something. What was your inspiration for that? Not what got you into it, because you already had the passion. But what was your inspiration? Like, where are you going from there?
Well, it was as early as like when I was in the kindergarten, first grade, around that time when I started understanding how a film or TV show comes together. Because before that, as early as I can remember, when I was like 2-3 years old, I used to watch TV and think that what I'm watching is like a world within that little box, or they're like living human beings and creatures, tiny people living in the TV sets, putting on a show for us, kind of like Muppets. And as I grew older, I started, because I was so fascinated by just that whole thing of entertainment and these people living in there. Like, I started learning more about actors, and then I started to learn where Hollywood was and where these movies are actually made. So that's where that world is, and all these worlds are being created. And I started to watch a lot of behind the scenes stuff that used to come out at that time, especially like sci-fi movies and big blockbusters that used to show us some behind the scenes of how it all kind of comes together. Then I started seeing all these other characters behind the scenes, like the director and cinematographers and crew, and I started thinking, wow, it's such an amazing thing. And now I can still think back to what like the 4, 5, 6-year-old me used to think, and how I used to kind of build the concept of filmmaking in my head. That alone showed me that that's what I want to do. And I went into it experimenting myself. Like, I used to do a lot of role play, which a lot of actors grew up doing as well. Like, and I used to be in like little youth theater groups. So I used to play characters, And at the same time, like now, instead of just me playing these characters in real life, I started thinking, how can I put this on tape? And before I started filming my own, content, I used to actually record. The whole concept for me with tape to tape came from having VHS. You remember those blank VHS tapes we could buy, or even if you had a movie where you could, put tape over the little,
Yeah.
player and be able to record your favorite TV show on TV so you could rewatch it because we didn't have TiVo and all that back then.
Yeah.
So I used to record a lot of my favorite TV stuff, and even I've made like I used to see home videos that others would do, and I would use two VCRs to copy it over. And so with that concept in mind, I started thinking, how can I start recording something that I have control over? And I used to play video games. And one day I'm like thinking, all right, I have my VCR hooked up to the TV, and I have my console. It was like a Nintendo at that time, Super Nintendo. I have that set up to the TV. This is interesting. Let me see if I can record what's being played on TV into a VHS tape. So I did it, and it was awesome. Like I was playing Power Rangers, and all of a sudden now I'm, this avatar in the game, the Red Ranger, playing the game, and I'm recording myself, and I'm like, that's my movie. So to me, those
Yeah.
are like the first movies I started putting together that I was controlling, and then with that concept, I started seeing what a lot of my family members had camcorders. I did not at the time, but I started like being able to, whenever I would go to parties or family get-togethers, any events, I would always want to run the camera and videotape what was going on, and so that started me, experimenting with camcorders and putting together, plays and recording plays, and now they turn into movies. And then for my 10th birthday, I finally got my own little camcorder, and then that's when I started making like movies that I could actually finish with friends, weekends or whatnot.
So you grew up in Cleveland, correct?
Yes, it was a suburb south of Cleveland, about 20 minutes south, called Parma Heights, and I went to Parma City School Districts, and I lived there, pretty much all my life until I was 18. Then I moved out to Los Angeles.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. Like 18 comes. I mean, you already have the passion. You already have know-how. You jump on. You now, are you going? Did you go to film school, or did you go right out and you were like, I'm gonna get a job on set? And
Well, it's for me, film school was more like going to work, or having a studio backing to give me resources to make my own content. I was already working professionally and making my own content, and I had a lot of training in high school because luckily the school district I went to, Parma City Schools, they were very favorable to extracurricular activities and career programs in our high school. Like from junior year, you had a choice of picking a career program if you wanted to be in auto or medical or business, tech, or now TV and radio, which ours was radio and TV productions. And so obviously I chose that, and I also started off acting when I was younger, even before high school. I was like a child actor, and growing up, being the actor, I had a lot of experience on set. And then later on, when I was like 14, 15, I started watching edits, like editors edit content. So I started like building my knowledge, and with that came more curiosity to learn more things behind the scenes. So I started knowing that, if I wanted to make my own content, I had to be a director or producer or even editor, cinematographer. You have more creative control there instead of just being the pawn, which, it's great. A lot of actors, most actors are not pawns, they're artists, but it's unfortunate that a lot of times in productions, they're treated as a pawn. They're like robots rather than artists. So to me, I wanted to have more creative freedom to be able to be a director that can work with the actors and let them be artists, or like be collaborative, because to me film is the most collaborative art form. So I always learned from others and taught myself, and so I was lucky enough to go to radio and TV from when I was 16 years old. I was already making my own content. They started teaching me what they normally teach film students their freshman year in college. So my junior and senior year, half the time I had 3 periods with regular classes, and the rest of the after lunch I had 3, 4 periods worth of radio and television production. So after my few months into it, I started learning how to use the cameras more, how to edit. I learned on, I did tape to tape editing when I was even younger. At 10 years old, I was making my own movies with that. So I had the concept of editing, especially, like the old fashioned way. And so I pretty much picked it up fast when I started doing it on the computer, which was Avid. That was the first linear editing software I used, which is also the most difficult. And they were actually the first linear editing software back in the early 90s, 80s. They were always kind of on top of their game. And our program, they had invested a lot into getting some of the best equipment at that time. I mean, this was like 2000, 4 or 5 time, and so we had great, like the newest HD cameras that were just coming out, and we had these Avid systems. So to me, that was like the best thing ever. I was also playing sports at the time in high school, and I started then kind of drifting away from sports and going more into the production stuff. So even outside of class for my extracurricular, I would go and set up shows and make my own content, make my own shows or films. And at the same time, we were making programs for the local school district's TV channel on Cox Cable. The school district had like its own channel where we used to do news content, documentaries, little short programs. So from there, I also was able to acquire credentials through some contacts I had in LA to the 79th Academy Awards, I think it was. So my 2 friends of mine, John Casey and Keith Kosinski, and myself, from the program, we came to LA. So these 3 young kids in high school, coming over to Los Angeles for the first time, doing their own little show at the red carpet at the Oscars. That was like an event for us in Ohio. So we put a documentary for the time we were here, and then Cox Cable back home, they started airing it. It became like, a local favorite thing where they keep rerunning it even today, I hear. So that was cool, and it built me up. It really prepped me to move on to college and working at the same time. I was also creating a lot of my own content. So I made my first TV show that I directed at 16 years old. It was Fit for Life, fitness show, and I was able to also blend Bangladesh and here the U.S. together, like build a bridge between my content by shooting over there, because my roots are there. My parents are from Bangladesh, and I used to actually act and work on TV stuff when I was younger there. So I had connections in both worlds that I kind of started merging, and that made some of my projects unique. To start with, that kind of became my niche. But I was always, aspiring to establish my career here as a Hollywood filmmaker. So I knew what I needed to do. I moved to LA as soon as I could, right after high school. It was literally 6 days after I graduated. I didn't want to waste any more time, and I just wanted to get out there. And I had some contacts, luckily, lined up here from the time when I came to the Oscars to be able to get work and just, get my feet wet across the board, and just keep working and meeting people, networking, and building, my knowledge. And every day I'm still learning, and that's the most fascinating thing of what we do. It's like, 13, 14 years now went by since I came to LA, and it's like every day it's like a new day, and I'm still learning. It's still fresh. I feel like I'm still just starting out.
I'm sure that's refreshing, especially too when indie filmmakers hear that. But it is, it's okay to always learn. It's okay to always keep going and kind of.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, even Clint Eastwood. I mean, as great as he is, a legend, and at 90 years old, I mean, God bless him, he's still directing, acting, producing, doing his own shows, and he still learns every day. And that's what makes him so great, and everyone that has that attitude and understanding of the reality of our business. And in most cases in life in general, every day up until old age and the time you die, you're always consuming new information and new knowledge. And what we do as filmmakers, knowledge is key to what we also forecast out to our audiences. Every project we do, every subject matter we work with, we're constantly having to learn and research and better ourselves to be able to present that to the masses. And I love that part of my job, and becoming different characters, understanding different psychics, and just getting that knowledge.
So with that, I actually want my next question is: so you have so many disciplines that you work on constantly, being a producer, being a director, writer, editor, and so on and so forth. Is there one that you would say is your central goal, or if not a goal, something that you just naturally gravitate towards? Like if it wasn't directing, maybe you found more of a love in producing. It's okay to love both, of course, but any certain one that you're just like you kind of zoned in on.
It's funny because I really just wanted to be a director, but nowadays you have to be just diverse in what you do in making a movie. Or I had to forcefully kind of become a producer at one point, and even writer. I mean, I think I was a writer before anything else, and you have to. I mean, that's where it starts. And a lot of times, to make content, you have to write your own material. But I like to collaborate with other writers and make the best of it. But directing is really where my passion is, and I feel like naturally that's more suiting for me to be on set. So I'm more of a production guy. I like creating on the spot, on set, working with the actors and collaborating with the rest of the crew and the DP and all the departments to making it come alive. But at the same time, I also enjoy the post process because that's really where the film does come to life and becomes what it is and what we put out. So I like to be involved in every aspect of, especially the film I direct. And so I end up, being one of the writers and then producer and help packaging it together. And then obviously, on directing, that's when I seem to enjoy my time the most during that process. I mean, it can be like the shortest process, but the most accomplishing because what you shoot is what you get, and you have to carry that over. A lot of times, I love working with editors, but sometimes I can work a little faster because it's already there. I'm pretty much on set editing, so I shoot to edit. That's the kind of that's my style of directing. Is I always envision, because I've had experience in editing myself and also working as a DP and knowing how all aspects of it make this puzzle come together. So I know whenever I shoot something, I always shoot extra for extra coverage and to have options. But at the same time, mentally, I make notes. Okay, that's the shot I'm going to use that'll connect. It'll transition into this, and so for me, it's a lot faster process, and it's fun to see it now come together and come to life in post. So, but that's the drop. You get involved, and the more involved the director you are, more it becomes your baby, at the same time, and you have to love it as much as you love what you're doing.
Yeah, 100%. And that's a great answer. I appreciate that. I'm wondering, I want to talk about your movies first before we get into, because I have a couple of fun levity questions I want to throw your way and see what you think. But I want to talk about so right now your next movie coming out is Ace and the Christmas Miracle, and then you have the Commando, which you're working on. You said you're editing currently. Now you've been doing movies for a long time. You're in the industry. I know with Ace and the Christmas Miracle, you're working with the likes of John Lovitz, Randy Rauter, and on the Commando, you're working with two of my favorite actors of all time, Mr. Mickey Rourke and Michael Jai White. So, and those are two very different movies. Now, coming into it as a director, as the writer, and the producer and such, what's your mentality? What is the state of doing these movies that are very different in tone and story and everything else? Like, how do you go into each one as a director with actors like this?
Well, that's a good question, and it's different movies, challenges, things that I have to find a way to fit in something very challenging for myself, and both projects actually there's that I just completed and they're coming out next, Ace and the Christmas Miracle, and also the Commando. They both kind of happened um, accidentally in the terms of I didn't expect them, to be honest with you. Working on another action movie that was and getting ready to shoot, and then all of a sudden an action movie called is so I'll go in 2021. Uh, but that time, I had other projects lined up that I had to do, and all of a sudden in March, we started realizing that traveling overseas will not be easy. So that film was going to get pushed. So all of a sudden, I'm called in to do this Christmas movie that had to be delivered by June, and right now we're in March, and so I'm like, all right, I don't know, it's going to be hard to turn around a film in 2 months from concept to, completion. And so I said, okay, why not? I think we can do it. So we set it up. It was a really nice concept with the talking horse and a kids movie. And, I had the actors lined up, the resources, everything like there to get started. And then all of a sudden, things started shutting down in April. But, we were very cautious and we were able to maneuver through, the shutdowns at times and get it made privately. Very low key at the time, but we were very safe. Like it was like a group of us were all quarantined area.
I think you broke up a little bit.
Safety protocol officially. And so we were able to just make a efficient shoot where we made something magical, and it ended up becoming a very smooth and fun project for all of us involved, and we were able to deliver it by end of June. And so now it's going through the whole distribution process, and hopefully, it'll release this Christmas. And I haven't received the street date yet, but that's what we're told is it's running up to this Christmas, and if not, then it'll release next year. But it's by a major studio, so that's exciting. But the Commando, so later on, in these times of uncertainty, we were still planning to make this action movie. So I was already for about the last year prepping to make an action movie, and I had my action team and stunt coordinators, like director, producers, and one of my friends, Phil Tan, was involved with me from that film. We kind of came over into being prepped to do this action movie, and then all of a sudden, one of my other producing partners and friends, Al Bravo and Koji Sakai, who was the writer of The Commando, we together and we came up and played with this story, and uh, just together really quickly, and we got the script done very quick, and people were looking for action films, and at that partners came to us that, hey, we need an action film. So we had this one ready, so we gave it to them, and it wasn't the right fit for them. But right away, 2 days later, someone else said, okay, we want to do this. So then it just got greenlit, and like 3 months later, we're on set shooting it. It just came together very quickly, and now that that's done, move on to the original project that was supposed to happen, pre-COVID. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully this post-pandemic thing goes a little better and things don't get shut down. Then we'll get into that. But to answer your question, the way it was, like, you can't really solve as a filmmaker over the last 14, 15 years. I've learned to be able to be adaptive and just be ready and know what you want. Like with the kids Christmas movie, I've always knew I wanted to do a kids Christmas movie at some point. I grew up watching, some of the greatest. I love Christmas movies. That's something personally I like and enjoy.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I love action movies. I love horror movies, sci-fi. So it's something I've always kind of tried what so the filmmaker creator side of me then kind of have to blend together, and when I make an action movie, I tell myself, okay, what would I want to see, being an action fan. And even with the kids movie, I think back to when I was a kid, and I can remember my thoughts and how I processed everything from watching a kids movie, a Disney movie, a cartoon, or even a movie like Home Alone. And I tried to work with those elements. And obviously, you have to have a great team for any film you do. And I've been blessed enough to work in almost every genre to now, where I understand it all, and I can put that team together to deliver what we have to.
That's awesome. So, is there a genre that you love? Like if you could maybe not keep doing it, but like you would love to revisit, or you love that genre.
I got to tell you, action is probably what I would like to stick with for a while, because you can be creative. It's challenging, meaning you do something new with it.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, it's not easy. And that's the part that also that I love is any film I do, I like to be challenged more. Action film, it's hard, especially something new. It's exciting at the same time, and working with the do, and you learn a lot more. But at the same time, you can blend drama into, like, for example, Commando. It's what's going to be a little unique about the Commando is I'm blending many genre elements together into it, where there's moments where it feels like a horror moments
Nice.
where it feels like drama or a family movie, and then moments where it's like the Expendables type of action. So psychological. The script was very good to where it serves, especially for veterans community PTSD, and how they deal with it at home with their families, and at the same time, fight their demons, and try to live a normal life. And then, is hit with threatening, um, it's something that was very fun to do, but at the same time, like, psychologically, like, it was very deep. And so the actors did a phenomenal job, and and especially having great legendary actors like Mickey Rourke and Jeff Fahey, and Michael J. White with his action experience. But at the same time, some new faces like Donald Cowboy Cerrone, who is obviously a UFC legend, but as an actor, he delivered. So everyone across the board, we had some newcomers, some old time legends. Everyone delivered something new that you'll see.
I'm very much looking forward to both movies. Sit down with my kids and watch Ace, and definitely me sit down and watch The Commando. I'll watch anything with Michael Jai White in it, 100%. So I'm definitely in. So for I always like to take kind of at the end of the interviews, I want to bring some levity to it, and maybe ask the fun questions, if you will. And I got two questions for you, and I'd love to hear your answer. One, if there was any movie, it could be a movie that was already made, or it could be a subject like a biopic or something that you wanted to do. What would you do? What if you had a freedom to do anything, either redo something, whatever you want?
Well, there is actually a film um, I've been actually working on for about the past 7, 8 years, maybe over 8 years now. Yeah, 8 years. It's a big film. It's kind of like the Gandhi of our time, and it's the biopic of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, who is the founding father and first president of Bangladesh, and in 1971. And at that time, there was a genocide there and war, between Bangladesh and Pakistan, and India was involved, the U.S. was involved, Russia. I mean, it's a major story, and something that's very recent as well. Not it's 1971. It's not that far back. Um, so that's the story that's been untold, and it's a true, fascinating, historical story that shaped a lot of what the society is today. I mean, the concert for Bangladesh that George Harrison did in 1971 was actually for that event, and that happened. And many people don't know this, and that was one of the first uh, global fundraising concerts that was on a major scale, with superstars coming together and raising at the time, millions of dollars. That effort made a difference. And from there on, now you have all these charity events and concerts that started from all that. Even today, the concert for Bangladesh with George Harrison and Ravi Shankar and all these other greats at the time, uh, it's still a legendary event that I think they have edition DVD, some programs they do on something that has really been told on film, and they have the script, which we had a large research team for the script that helped us make sure it's factual, and we worked with the family as well to have proper sources. So that's a film that down the road, hopefully, it's getting closer and closer, but it's a um, big scale project, so it's going to take a little bit longer. But
That
hopefully that'll
sounds
be something.
that sounds amazing. Oh man, I can't wait for you to make that.
Father of the Nation, and so it's still in progress. But hopefully in the next few years, it'll get into production.
I really hope so. That sounds great. Oh my god, that's amazing. Um, that I would love to see that get made. I'm pulling for you, please. So I love biopics, so it's always something that I want to go
Thank you.
to, especially very good, interesting ones. Last question for you.
I'm
I
also
just
working.
want to know. Oh, no, please.
With Mickey Rourke, but you'll know, I'm sure, more about it later coming up. But I love biopics. I like documentaries. I've done a few myself, which I never thought I would. But it's another whole fascinating thing, telling a true story, and you know making a film out of it. That's a whole nother ballgame.
Yeah, that would be an interesting one too. To also do a documentary of kind of leading in like a side by side, and you'd be the guy to tell both. Honestly, I mean, it seems like a passion project, and that always equates being done right, in my opinion. So I am, I'm very excited for you. I cannot
I'm
wait
sorry,
for you.
Mick. I think
I think for oh, there you are. All right, awesome. Thank you, sir.
yeah, bit of a connection
So
issue.
One question I always like to ask, because especially I like to ask filmmakers and directors, if your top 5 remote dropper movies. So you're watching TV, it's on TV. You're like, drop the remote, I'm done. I'm watching this for the rest of the day. What do you got for me? What are your top 5? Oh, I might have frozen again.
For me,
Oh, I think you froze up again. Oh, there you
go. Yeah, you keep
Perfect.
coming in and out. The network's a bit choppy.
Oh, I'm sorry, man.
Oh, no worries, no worries. So could you just repeat the last bit of the question, please?
So your top 5 remote drop movies where you see it on TV, you drop that remote, and you're making sure to watch it.
Oh, wow. So top 5, I would say, I mean, Titanic would be one, because that's a movie that's still to date, like, teaches me a lot, and most of James Cameron's movies do. Every time you watch it, it doesn't matter if it's, the first time or 100th time, you learn something, you see something new. And I remember watching the Titanic when I was young. I mean, 97 when it first came out. I was able to go and I saw it was one of those there. So that'd be one for sure. Back to the Future, is another one that it's time, completely timeless. Terminator 2, another James Cameron movie. It's full on entertainment all the time. Home Alone, a kids movie I was actually watching it the other day. And then Christmas Vacation. There you go. There's 2 Christmas movies there. I love Christmas, so they're just fun. But 5, I think that, yeah.
That's a great choice.
Where I wouldn't, and that sometimes.
Those are some great choices, man. I love that. And I thank you so much for being on the show, man. Like I really had a great time talking with you.
Oh, my pleasure.
I wish you all the luck in the world, man. I really do. That you are killing it in this industry. And keep doing it, and I cannot wait to see your biopic, man, The Father of a Nation, right? So I can't wait to see what you come up with there and where you go with it. But right now, everybody, make sure we're checking out Ace and the Christmas Miracle and The Commando when it's out. Very excited for those. Do you have anything else you want to promote right now going on or you're getting ready for?
At the time, no, I think that's about it. Yeah, you covered it well. I like to move forward and not really look back in my projects as much, but you can find them, check them out. But definitely look forward to what we have coming out.
And we're going to have your IMDb link in the description below, so that way is you can check out the movies, go find them. They're available. Thank you again for being on the show. This has been fantastic. I've just had such a great time. And you're always welcome back on. If you have something you want to promote or just want to come on and talk movies, please feel free to do so. But everybody, until
awesome.
next time. Oh, yeah, please do. Always. Yeah, just reach out to me. I'd be happy to have you on because you're such a knowledgeable guy. And I know up-and-coming filmmakers will definitely learn a lot from this, and I would love to hear more from you. I just want to say thanks again, and I thank you everybody for watching. Of course, this is the Scene Snobs interviews. You can catch all of our shows on thescenesnobs.com, and you can follow me at the Scene Snobs. So thanks everybody, and I will talk to you later.